Hey, good morning to you, Matt. I know it's 6 a.m. for you in California. Is that correct?
I'm actually in Canada, but I'm just operating off of
Oh,
California time. Yeah,
I
I just
see.
wanted
I
to make
see.
it easier for everybody. Nobody thinks of Canada.
Okay, fair enough. Well, a hello to you. Glad to have you on. Really appreciate you giving up your time, especially in early morning, to be on for this interview. How are you? How are you
Oh,
doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me and reaching out. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Great, great. Thank you. Okay, so in your case, you were recommended by the stocks professor. He reached out to me, said he thought you'd be a great person to interview. So here we are now. I'd love to hear more about your story, more about your time in the real world a bit later on in the interview. For now, let's begin with what was your life like before joining the real world?
My life was very, very different. It seems like it was a lot longer ago than it was. I've been in for about a year, but when I joined, I was 20 years old. I was living at home with mom and dad. I was smoking weed every day. I had no real direction in my life as to what it was that I was really working towards or trying to do. Like I literally would wake up in the morning, I would go to work, come home, and any time that wasn't spent working, it was spent wasted. So there was no productivity at all. And from there, I just like found myself like constantly thinking, why do I feel empty? And I came across some like Andrew Tate videos, and I was like, this guy's crazy. This guy's wild. And then I tried to like screen out all the wild phrases, anything, and I started like really just listen to some of the topics when he would speak quieter. So when he'd speak quieter, I feel there'd be like more gems that would come out, and like I'd like agree, and I'd be like, this is insane. And I was like, man, it's 49 bucks. It was 49 bucks at the time. I was like, what's it gonna hurt if I lose 50 bucks? I waste 50 bucks on anything, like all the time. I waste the money. So I took the risk and signed up, and life's just been a flash. Feels like it's been a flash since then.
Hmm. Wow, that's unexpected. That was, yeah, really cool. So you've joined the real world. You see all the campuses in front of you. What did you choose to go into? What was the thought process there?
So I went into the stocks campus because leading up to prior to me joining Hustle University, there was one guy that I had like followed a little bit on his like YouTube. His name's Anton Creel, and he's just an ex Goldman Sachs guy. And I was like, man, I was just so fascinated by the concept of it that when I had joined Hustle University, I had a little bit of knowledge in it. I kind of knew about some stocks and whatnot. I knew about a little bit of information. And then when I stepped into Hustle University, there was much more information to go into. And I just devoted to learning something that I already had an interest in, which was stocks. I saw that there was a professor, so I would reach out and I would ask questions. I would try to help the community however I could. Whenever other people had questions, try to answer. And all in all, what I did find and what I continue to find is that in every single one of the campuses, they're all about making money. But you know what I find more impressive is every single one of them, every single day, there's people talking about their fitness, their relationships, and just genuinely trying to help each other in ways that are outside of monetary ways of developing yourself, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Quite a few things to go into that. Let's start with you said you devoted yourself to learning after having joined. Where was the mindset shift there? Because before you were saying you felt empty, and then yeah, there was that devotion to learning. So where did where did that all happen?
Oh, that came from Arno. Um, I put in the personal finance chat one day. Basically, I have wasted however many years of my life. I've not done anything. I don't do anything. And I go, I don't know what to do. And Arno had messaged me in a response. And he's like, why do you feel you need to do anything? You don't know anything. Go learn. I was like, okay. So I just went and I was like, I'm not gonna argue with Arno. So I just went straight into it, man. And it was a good decision. There's not much you can do if you don't have information to go off, right? So his advice is was very sound at the time. And I realized that he could have given that to anybody at any time. Similar advice, maybe not the wording, right? But just go learn more, and anybody can value from that information.
Interesting. I'll need to give that some thought as well. So you're saying that's where the mindset shift happened when you heard that, started devoting yourself to learning, and then did discipline build from that? Was there something else involved?
Oh, of course, of course. So what I would have to do is I'd have to like make like a I'd have the list, and it would be a list of things that I have to do, let's say in the morning. So it'd be like I'd have to do push-ups, I'd have to like go for a walk, go for a run, like drink a liter of water when I wake up, and then before I go in the shower, drink another liter, right? Like I had a little bit of a list that I would get like a I have to do this and have my internal body clock like wake me up for quite a while.
Let's go on to the financial side now. Before you said you were just working, I'm presuming it was a 9 to 5. How did that change after having joined the real world and learning from the Stocks campus?
Well, while I was at my 9 to 5, I was like trading, I was typing the chats. So basically my work, I would be trading and just doing Hustlers University stuff. So I got in a lot of trouble for it, funny enough. But no, it all changed because when you focus towards learning these skills that you're getting taught, if you actually like put the action towards getting the outcome you want with having an intention to actually achieve it, believing you will achieve it, then it will come. And so when I believed that, I started to take action. I started to see some results, which encouraged me more, just push more, push more. Gradually, the time that I was devoting to my job was literally entirely Hus University. And I was in the military though. So I just had put in my release, I left, and here I am, and just not having to work a 9 to 5. If I need more income, I can go work harder, reach out to more people. There's different ways that are like, I won't go boring everybody. There's ways that you can get that money. So monetarily, when I was working at that 9 to 5, all I had was the 9 to 5 income. When I joined Hustle University, I had the 9 to 5 plus HU, and now I don't need that 9 to 5 because it would just be a detriment to whatever I can generate off Hustle University.
And could you go more into depth on what you've built since joining?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So when I first was January of last year, roughly was when I joined. And that was when that was before Take got big. That was before um like all the controversy, whatever. So he went on Tom Segura's podcast and he started blowing up. People started putting attention to the affiliate campus, and I saw a message again from Arno. He's like, if the masses are going one way, it's a good sign to not go that way. So I was like, all right, well, everybody else is joining us going over here. Like, let me go try something else. So I went into copywriting campus just to learn, right? I just wanted to learn that skill because it's so important. I went heavy into the stocks campus, of course, because that's what I would do like day to day while I was at work. And then in my spare time, I would go into the freelancing campus as well. And genuinely, the majority of my income now comes from that freelance side because the freelance side is simply your skills that you develop. And how can you offer that skill to the world in exchange for value? So what I did is I got advice to get into high ticket sales. So I took out this personal loan at the time and I paid for uh this like $10,000 course. And then I used Hustle University trading, like stock trading, to pay off like quite a bit of it. I think like half of it was taken care of just from stock profits. And then the remainder was off freelancing. So I got into sales. I got into appointment setting in high ticket sales. We are selling like $5,000, $10,000 products, and I would just get commission off it. And so at first it was just terrifying, being like, wait, if I don't generate like something for you, then I don't get anything. Like that's scary coming from a place you've never done it before. And so what I have done is I've done high ticket sales and then left the company and I went to an entrepreneur that I had met through various networks. And from there, he was running a VA staffing business. And so when I reached out to him, I literally was like expecting that I was going to work for free for a little bit, try to provide value, see how I can help him out. And next thing you know, I sign like he asked me to come on as like an executive director for the like company for like or sorry, executive of sales, like head of sales and marketing. And this is crazy because like 4 months ago I left the military. I'm 20 years old. Or when I signed this, I just turned 21. And like what kind of where else can you prepare for that? Where else can you prepare yourself to make a change from 9 to 5 to skill to in a couple months now being sales and marketing director of a startup company and having it actually having something in front of you that you're working on and seeing it build, having that pride. So it's a VA staffing agency, and we have VAs in the Philippines, whatnot. And basically, if businesses are looking to outsource some work, or if they're looking to reduce labor costs, they come to us. And if we do enough, like if we can present to them, something that can actually benefit them, and I have that pride knowing that it will benefit them, then it's easy for me to sell. And when it's easy for me to sell, knowing it's going to benefit them, it's like if I don't get them to buy, I'm doing them a disservice at that point. And if you wouldn't mind, just like a quick analogy that I learned from that old sales education thing that I bought into that I think is really, really cool. And it's the analogy of drink the water. And it's by Mike Barron. So I have to give credit where it's due. But it's called Drink the Water. And it's imagine me and you were walking through the desert and we see this guy that's lying face down. His face is in the sand, mouthful of sand, right? But he's breathing. We can see that he's alive, but he's been there for a couple days. He's like hallucinations, doesn't know where he is. He's on the verge of death. We have water bottles, but he won't drink them, right? He's delusional. We know that it's going to save him, so we have to get him to drink that water. And so you have to do everything in your power to get them to do it because you know this is going to save your life. So taking that approach towards sales, I found if you can genuinely believe that you giving this person XYZ product, XYZ service will benefit them, then you should be selling as many people as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're doing them a disservice.
So that makes me think of when I've tried to tell my friends about the real world because I know it's changed my life and I know it will benefit them. But then it feels like if I push too much, then they'll just back off even more. So, is there anything you'd say for that? Like, how can people who have joined the real world and see how much it has helped them, how could they spread it to other people that whose lives they'd like to improve as well?
Man, if you try to convince somebody against their will, they're going to be of the same opinion still. You can't convince them. If they see you leveling up in all levels of life, they're going to start asking why, right? And you don't have to like be a product pusher or anything. You can just ask them the right questions and have them lead themselves to the conclusion. Okay, so I have a like quick question for you, right? Like this is it's a little sales thing. Do you feel like you're more persuasive telling somebody what to believe, or do you feel like you'd be more persuasive if you were able to ask questions to invoke emotions that make them want to make that change for themselves?
Yeah, ask questions.
Exactly. So from them seeing you level up in all walks of life, they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you how you're doing it. Okay. And from there, you can tell them, yeah, it's all because of Hustle University, it's all because of the real world. Or you can tell them it's a little bit of the real world, whatever you want to say. But if you genuinely feel like it's going to help them and they will not listen, don't don't waste your breath, man.
Mm.
You can't help everybody. You can help anybody, but you can't help everybody. Anybody who's willing to listen, speak to them. But if they do not listen to you when you speak, if you are talking about what you're passionate about, whether it's how the real world might be able to help them, and they will not listen, stop talking. It's doing yourself a disservice and it's devaluing the words you're saying.
Okay, thank you for that. And now going back into the real world, how much were you able to generate from the stocks campus from your time there?
So my biggest month was an accident. I made 11,000 like 500 or something. And 3 or 4 thousand of that was through good trading. And literally about like 8,000 of it was off of penny stock that I put a little bit of money into and it just happened to go up because I was looking at some fundamentals and looking at some charts, whatever. Just decided like pull the pin and penny stocks are always a terrible idea, but it worked out. Like this one time, massive volatility came in, and whenever volatility comes into the markets, there's opportunity. When I saw that the volatility was come in, I'm like, well, it's $1,000. Like if it's exposed, yeah, it can go to zero, but I can most likely exit before. And if it goes to zero, well, it's a lesson learned, right? It's more information. And that penny stock rallied. I made a lot of money off that. To me at the time, it was just like so much money. But on average, I'd say probably just pulling in like 4 to 6,000. 4 to 6,000 is average. That's the beauty of it, man, is you can have various ways of making money. And if this falls tomorrow, I'll just go do something else. Like I'll be okay.
Right, because there's so many skills you can learn from the real world and so many
Oh,
opportunities to go through. Yeah. For people just starting out, let's say in the stocks campus, how long would you say it takes? How many hours per day, and then how many weeks or months until they have the knowledge to start trading by themselves and making an income?
trading by themselves and making income, that's very hard to answer because there's too many like respondent variables. There's too many variables to go into that. Like everybody's situation is going to be different. Everybody's coming in with more or less knowledge than somebody else. So everybody should expect that they're going to get their own results the way that it's going to happen and try not to force anything too fast. Um, if you're coming in with absolutely zero knowledge on stocks, you shouldn't be trading your own money for a while. Like there's they can give you a paper trading account, which if you don't even know how to operate your account, like your app. You don't know how to buy an option. You don't know how to buy a stock. You don't know how to buy futures. You don't even know what they are. It's perfect because they give you fake money, but they give you all the tools and the access as if it was real. So you get to learn in real time with money that is genuinely fake. And from there, it's stress free. You get to learn the process as to how it all works. And while you're learning how like the app works and all this, how like the actual stock trading happens, how to place on the ask if you need it now, market bids or market orders, right? Like all these different types of random piece of information. You're just going to pick up on it when you do it every single day. And if you're doing it every single day, risk free with like no emotion, being like, I'm going to go into the poorhouse, my family's going to have no money or food. If you have that like weight taken off your shoulders, but full accessibility as if you had your real money in there, why not use the tool? And that's all that I can say on timeline because how long will it take you to learn it? I don't know. How long will it take somebody else to learn it? It will be different. Does that kind of
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
answer? I'm like being like a politician trying to like
Nah. All
skirt
good. All
around
good.
the answer.
Okay, so now going into the community a bit more. You mentioned how Arno had an impact on you. What about the other members in the community? Did they affect you in any way?
Oh, every day. Every day they do. So even in the stocks campus, right? You'd think, oh, it's talking about stocks. These guys are going to be like financial nerds, whatever. There's there was a channel that we were making. It's like it was just like basically like people would go in there, they hey, like I'm working out, this is what my workout today. It's to like hold themselves accountable. Let's say I see that you had sent a message in there, like I'm gonna do this. I might send you a message in the morning, be like, hey, did you do that? And if you didn't, we're gonna get on your case for it. So the community uplifts everybody in like all ways. It's not just monetary. Like money is great and all, and it's necessary. It's why like it was created to help people with 18 modern wealth creation methods. But at the same time, I feel like there's way more wealth creation methods in there that are literally just unseen or unspoken. If you have a connection with a guy in like in one of the rooms that you've been learning with for 6 months, you can get onto a Zoom call with them and you can talk to them every day. And like they can be overseas. I've been speaking, well, I haven't spoken to him for a couple weeks now, but I have a buddy who lives in Germany and I'm in Canada. I'm from small town rural Canada talking, and I was talking like every couple days with a guy in Germany. We're talking about stock trade, like stocks, we're talking about fundamental analysis and all this. But what I most appreciate is in the like fitness side of things is for about 2 weeks at the end of October. I had turned 21 at the beginning of October. For the last 2 weeks of October, I remember logging in one day and seeing this guy. I won't say his name, and he's like, guys, I can't do push-ups. Like he's like really skinny guy and really young, and he's like, I can't do a push-up, and he's embarrassed by it. So I was like, Ben, don't worry about it, dude. Do negatives, put your knees in the ground if you have to. Do what you can do, and we'll build from there. And so every day for 2 weeks, what we would do is at noon PST, we would check in and we would send each other a video doing 25 push-ups. So I would do 25 push-ups and I would have his video come in, him doing his 25 push-ups every single day for 2 weeks. And guess what? At the end of those 2 weeks, I I stopped sharing these videos. I revisited it like last week, right? The beginning of January, end of December, and this guy is in there posting up his videos, posting things like encouraging other people to go, helping other people. And he's like, I'm studying on like my nutrition. He's getting better. And you can't tell me that that guy's life hasn't improved. Like maybe not financially. I don't know about his finances, but I can tell you that he couldn't do a single like proper push-up before, and he's repping out 20 in a row all the time now. And I think that's beautiful.
That really is beautiful. I love that story. Thank you for sharing.
Of course, man.
Has the Winds channel had any effect on you?
Oh yeah, man. That's your source of unlimited motivation. That's the key. That's the key. If anybody is in here and like they're like, yeah, I'm in Hustle University, I'm in the real world, we all know. If I am feeling like I'm not in it today, today's not my day for whatever reason, I can simply go into any of the campuses and I can go into the Wins channel and I can see, I don't know, a 13-year-old make 20 grand in a month and go, well, I haven't done that and I'm way older than that kid. Let me go get back to work. So if you're, I don't know, I use that Wins channel. I use the Wins channels very selfishly. It's it's basically just a free resource of like energy and like just motivation, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, what was the biggest mistake you made when you first joined the real world that you could enlighten other new members to potentially not make that same mistake?
Um, don't go slow, man. Don't go slow. Now, don't go diving head first into stock, spending your own money. Nothing like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the information that you have access to is unlike anywhere else that you're gonna get. You have access to people who practice this daily. See, the biggest mistake is trying to go through it all by yourself, one, and two, going too slow. Anybody who's in there, we all know what rule number one is. speed, man. Got to go fast. Now, you can't be reckless, but you can't be too slow because if you go too slow, you will crash. If a plane slows down in the air, it will crash. That plane needs to stay moving. So when you get momentum, when you get any progress made, think don't like try to celebrate, oh, I've achieved X. Let me celebrate now. I've achieved X. What's Y? Okay, now I'm on Y. Okay, now what's Z? Okay, now we're on cycle two, starting at A again. What's the next step? What's the next step? Always looking forward, trying to not, you do not do it by yourself. Always looking forward. Don't slow down. That's what I would have to say.
Hmm. And now on the other end, what are the three biggest lessons you've learned from your time in the real world?
Probably number one is the importance of speed. Absolutely, the importance of speed. It's undeniable that when you go from like achieving things faster or just having like a good week and then you have a regular week, that energy shift you have, I feel like that is what a lot of people will run into after they'll get some sort of achievement, whatever, and then they'll look back happy and they'll think, okay, well, the next time I'm happy will be hopefully soon. And that's how they'll go through life. Now, if we're going interacting with speed, we already know that we're creating our own happiness, we're creating our own results. So if we want to be happy, work with speed and you'll be happy again sooner and you'll be happier sooner. Another one I would say is definitely Arno's advice of get into sales. That was some of the best advice I've ever received, simply because when you do go from not having any experience in sales to now having experience in sales, okay, when you're new, it's super uncomfortable. But when you're kind of experienced, you're talking to people, you're getting paid to conversate with people, right? It's it's an amazing thing that I can go and I can generate a result for somebody else and I can get paid for it more than somebody who gives all their time, always generating results for somebody and gets paid the exact same all the time. No matter if the results continue to climb, they might get paid the same. But if I have an amazing month, my wallet reflects that. But having that 9 to 5, you're never going to be able to do it. And lastly, I would say the third most important thing is do not try to do this alone. You need you need friends, you need brothers, like you need to be a brother to somebody else. Because when you have somebody reach out to you asking you to help them for motivation, that's beautiful. Because you know that you're having a positive effect on them as well. So if you're trying to do this by yourself, good luck, man. That's all I'll say. Good luck. I don't want to go into go into that too much more, but good luck.
Hmm. This is something I say in a lot of the interviews because it's brought up. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely, man.
To end off, where can people contact you? Where can they find out more about you?
I'm on Instagram, Matt.Logan1234. Very original name. And I believe my Twitter is Matt_Logan_. So pretty original names. I'm not like putting out too much content or nothing like that, but I have been internally debating like, man, I need to start producing more. I can't just have these social medias just sit there. It's one picture of me and then I just waste time on them. Like what is that? I need to start producing content, you know what I mean? So if people want to follow me, then soon there will be information coming. But yeah, if anybody wanted to reach out, ask me any questions about anything, I'm happy to answer on Instagram and Twitter.
Great. So again, really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, and I wish you all the
Thank you
best,
for having
Matt.
me, man.
Bye.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Thank you.